Hey guys, I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Spencer.
And we're the Movie Bros.
Two regular guys bringing movie reviews you can trust.
So today we're going to be reviewing the Netflix original movie, Extraction.
Yeah, it stars Chris Hemsworth, and it's written by Jos Russo and being directed by Sam Hargrave.
The movie stars Chris Hemsworth, who was hired as a mercenary to extract or rescue a drug lord's son.
Yeah, so one drug lord is from one country, and he's in prison. His son is still out there in the world, kind of being handled by his handlers. And a rival drug lord decides that the best way to get revenge on him and kind of win their battle between each other is to kidnap his son and hold him ransom.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. What did you think about the movie?
I thought it was pretty good. A ton of action. We'll kind of delve into that later, but just from a storyline perspective, I thought it was interesting. The setup was pretty good. It is trying to get into the mindset of a drug lord who might be really high powered in a kind of impoverished country, and thinking about how you really get one up on your rival. This seemed like a decent way to try to do that.
Absolutely. I did think that the storyline itself was a little bare bones.
Yes.
Right? There's not a lot to it.
No.
The story is very linear,
yes,
which I feel like a lot of movies we've been seeing lately have that in common. They're very linear in nature.
It seems typical of action movies.
Well, and it is a great action movie. At the end of the day, I think that when we started seeing movies like John Wick and these really intense fighting between characters and how it's elevated other action movies, I think this is a good example of a movie that's kind of spawned from that genre of really high intensity action, and Extraction is no exception. That thing is just jam-packed with a lot of intense action throughout the movie.
Yeah, and I think the perspective that you get to take, the kind of cinematic style and the way that they kind of lead you through the war zone, so to speak, where they're trying to extract this kid. It's very reminiscent of, I don't know if you ever saw The Kingdom, this movie with Jamie Foxx, also set in kind of a poor country. But it's really interesting to watch and get that perspective, because sometimes you just get like a first person, and this really follows him and you feel like you're a part of the action.
Absolutely. You feel like you're in the fight with him, and the action is so intense.
Yes.
And thoughtful, I thought, as well. The movie was directed by Sam Hargrave, who is a stunt coordinator for some of the Avengers movie as well as one of the Captain America movies. And I really think that action and that coordination and that perspective really come through on this film. Mm-hmm. You get some really cool, unique camera movements. I thought the action was great. I really enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, and in an interview with Chris Hemsworth, I heard him say that the training for this and the actual doing the stunts for this movie was significantly harder than anything he's done before. I mean, he's engaged in a lot of the action that you see, and he said it was very intense trying to do all these stunts on his, or not all the stunts on his own, but a lot of the stunts on his own. I was very impressed by the fighting in the movie.
What did you think about, so we kind of touched on the plot. I think we both agree the plot was a little thin, but and it's what you would expect from a movie that's really just about action.
Correct.
What did you think about the look of the movie?
I think that the film work, the camera work was beautiful. I loved the way that they kind of pan around things. They use some interesting technology, like in the movie itself, where you're looking through the rifles and you're getting to see like the perspective of the shooter, which was all pretty interesting to me. I thought that the color, this is normally your topic, but the color grading, excellent. It's something I could actually appreciate in this one, just the way that the colors popped all against each other. I think it gets high marks in those categories.
Yeah, I really love the tonality of the movie, the color grading, the camera movement, the cinematography. I thought it all really worked well for an action movie. Mm-hmm. I really liked how in some respects they tried to do some like really long camera takes.
Yes.
Or simulated long camera takes in one of the fight scenes where he's fighting his nemesis in the movie, and they have this really protracted long fight scene, and they tried to make it almost a simulated one camera take. I thought that was really great. There's a lot of really good elements. I thought, one, it's from a streaming service, so it didn't cost us any money to watch it. And this is a movie I would have paid to see.
Yeah, I love Chris Hemsworth. I think he's just a great actor. He's obviously a very attractive man as well. And it's easy to want to have gone and seen this just from the trailer alone. Like, it looks like high action.
Yeah.
Like, looks like a blockbuster that you could see on the big screen.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that we got to see it at home, it didn't cost us any extra. I thought it was excellent. I love that Netflix is really pushing the envelope on some of these original content. But some other things that I really liked about the movie, I liked the ending a lot. I don't want to give away anything about the ending.
Sure. I will just say that the ending, without giving anything away, was a very realistic ending. And there's actually two parts to the ending that we can be talking about.
Absolutely. I mean, thinking about the ending as a whole.
Yes. I think that there are a lot of movies where people have, my friend and I, and this is not our term, but have coined something that we call plot armor. Some characters will develop what we call plot armor throughout a series or a movie where bad things can't happen in them because it's required to drive the plot forward. And I will say that this didn't have that because it's usually done in a way where like it doesn't fit the story well. And I think this ending was quite fitting for the story.
I think when you see a movie where the ending is not straightforward, it makes you think a little bit more, or it sits with you a little bit longer. You remember the movie because of that. It adds to the mystique of a movie. And for that kind of ending at the end of an action movie, I thought it was really smart. I thought it was a really smart take, right? Because you can make that ending whatever you want. It's like Inception, some of the best movies we've ever seen where you are left, interpreting the ending on your own.
Sure. I mean, a little more straightforward than Inception, but
in a lot of ways, it's not on the same level.
I get what you're saying, though. There's definitely a little bit of room for interpretation, and I think there's some good takeaways from some of the characters at the end and what they get out of that life experience that they went through from the movie. That being said, I kind of want to circle back to plot because it sounds.
Sure,
I feel like we're doing a lot of praise for this movie. I will say I enjoyed it. I think it's a great action blockbuster, but kind of on that linear point. I mean, there is not a ton of character development early on in the film. There's a few characters that you do get some backstory on, and you can develop some sort of emotional attachment to. But I'd say overall, there's a lack of character development, and so for the action part, great, but the plot as a whole maybe was a little weak for me.
If we were talking about a movie that is only going to have, let's say a certain amount of runtime, maybe it's 100 minutes, right? And it's an action movie. How much plot do we really need in an action movie?
And I think that's an individual basis. If you love action and that's all you're coming to see the film for, I think this hits a home run. If I actually like a little bit of character development, I would rather watch a longer movie and have some character development because it gets me invested in them. If it's an action movie and the character blows up and I don't give two shits about them.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. The plot is thin.
Yes.
Absolutely. I do think that throughout the action, there are moments where they do a little bit of character development. And when I say a little bit,
it's a little bit. No, but you're right. There's not none.
Now, what if there was an Extraction 2? And so now they keep building. So it's kind of like the Marvel movies where every movie you're adding a little bit more to the character development. And so maybe what we're seeing is the beginning of a franchise. I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there, but I hear what you're saying. I completely agree. I thought the plot was a little thin.
Yeah.
But again, at the end of the day, if you want to see a movie that is just jam-packed with action, amazing stunt choreography, great cinematography, awesome tonality, I think you're going to get it in this movie.
Yeah. So let's go to scores.
Okay, I'll go first this time.
Yeah, please.
I feel like a lot of times I go second, so.
That's true. There might be a little influence there as well.
I thought the movie was really good. I thought it was really entertaining. I've definitely wasted longer periods of time than this movie ran, so I'm going to give this one a solid 8.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was very good. I personally, for what I like to see in a movie, I like to be a little bit more invested. I loved the action, but it wasn't one that I'm going to be dying to see again. So for me, it's a solid 7.
All right, so you guys heard it here. We'll check you guys out on the next one.
Yeah, make sure to smash that like button. We really appreciate it. Helps us out with the YouTube algorithm.
Movie Bros out.